So today is November the 18th, 12 days after my birthday, and exactly 7 days, 1 week until my life is going to change forever. I guess I've known about this since the day after my birthday, but kind of it's been in the back of my mind since July when I had to wear the heart monitor for 30 days. When the doctor got the results back from the heart monitor, she said, well, we're thinking maybe you might need a pacemaker, but I'm going to send you to a different cardiologist so that he can read the results and also order a special MRI of your heart. Lo and behold, like I always pick up the little cities, Health Scope magazines or whatever. So I had actually picked up the City Scope magazine and read about the heart specialist before I knew I was going to see the heart specialist. And I'm always hopeful. Like I'm always thinking, yeah, I know what this test may show her and I know what it may say, but I believe in something bigger. I believe God has the last say, so, whatever. And my appointment with him, after the heart monitor ended in July, my appointment with her wasn't until the 23rd of September, which was, I had time. So I really didn't stress about it. But my appointment with him wasn't until October. So I was like, well, if it's that far away, it couldn't be that serious. And then just by coincidence, they called and they said they had a cancellation and could I come in earlier, which would have been like a month earlier, which just so happened to be the day I went to see the regular cardiologist. I would see the specialist the next day. And she had also put me on the medication while I was wearing the heart monitor. And when she called to tell me about the results of the heart monitor, she said, stop taking that medicine right now. And I was like, okay, cool. I guess I should go back. I've always had uncontrollable high blood pressure. And back in February, I woke up one morning. Februaries are like shitty for me. Like every February is shitty. And I almost made it to the end of the month. But I woke up one morning and my left arm was hurting. And it was also numb. And to move it was like, it felt like a heavy weight was sitting on it. And my only choice was to call the ambulance. And I questioned, I was like, oh my God, I'm having a stroke, So I was like, what's the best place to go? And they told me, the hospital that specializes in stroke and heart and stuff like that. So that's the ER I went to. And when I got there, the doctor came. I was like, how long has your arm been hurt? And I was like, a couple of days. He was like, well, it's not a stroke. And he walked away. So I sat in the ER from like 8 till 8. My sister came with me, and my blood pressure was still high. They were giving me medicine, trying to bring it down, and it wasn't helping. And she said, well, listen, I got to go get Cam from school. I'll be back. And the minute she left, the nurse came in and gave me more medicine to lower my blood pressure. And before that, I was getting up, using the bathroom. I was thirsty, so I was drinking juices. I was doing, normal stuff. And at one point, I went to drink the juice before my sister got back, and I missed my whole mouth. And I was like, damn, I wonder what happened. And I didn't think any of it. I just set the juice down. And when my sister got back in the room, I couldn't talk to her. I was like, hey, it's not right. something's not right. She was like, what do you mean? I was like, I'm not right. I'm not okay. I said, I can't explain how I feel. And she was like, what do you mean? And she was like, you want me to call the nurse? And I said, yeah, call the nurse. And I'm trying to explain to the nurse, like, I don't feel like myself. Like, I don't feel like me. I feel dumb. Like, I can't form sentences. I can't tell you what I feel. I don't know what was going on with me. I just know that I felt different from when I came in. My head was hurting too. I was asking for something for the headache. And my arm was also hurting. But now I feel like my brain is disconnected from my whole body. And she went and got the doctor, and I talked to the doctor, and I told the doctor, I was like, I don't feel right, and I don't feel okay. And my sister looked at her, and she was like, this is somebody that writes. She's an author, so if she doesn't know words or can't form words, there's definitely something wrong. So I asked her if I could stay over, don't discharge me just in case something's wrong, because something doesn't feel right. And because of all of the fluids they were giving me, I had to use the bathroom. And so my sister was like, I'll take you. And I was like, no, let's get a nurse, because this ain't your job. And you know how to go, but you don't know how to go. And so the nurse got me a wheelchair. And when I got to the bathroom, she was like, you ready? And I was like, yeah, I'm cool. And I remember reaching for the rail and trying to get up. And the next thing I know, I woke up in the room where I had, between trying to use the bathroom, I had fallen out somewhere. And come to find out, my blood pressure was so high that they had given me so much medicine to lower it that they lowered it too fast, and it caused me to faint. So I could have been on the way home and it happened, and my sister wouldn't have knew what to do. I could have been at home. That's why I always say you got to listen to your body. Well, in between that, at the doctor's office, the hospital was running over, and I hate going to the hospital. Like, I hate, because I feel like, that it's going to only frustrate me more. They ain't going to be able to tell anything. I end up having an MRI, and I had a bubble test of my heart. So I did get, that going. And they kept me the next day. They were supposed to, the ER was fucking running over. Like, it was 6 of us in one room that night. And there was a man that was snoring so loud. I never got any rest. So they were supposed to monitor my blood pressure, but because of the way the room was set up, there was no blood pressure cup. They didn't monitor and not sleeping, and everything was work. So when I finally got a room, it was like 9 o'clock the next morning. This was still in the ER, and they were trying to give me a room on the floor, just for monitoring. But they had stopped monitoring my blood pressure. They stopped giving me stuff for my blood pressure. They stopped checking to see if anything was okay. And by this time, I was just ready to go home, get a shower, and get in my own bed. So I immediately made an appointment with my PCP, because that's what they say, follow up. And I know with her, she gonna sit down and give me the real, because I'm gonna read my chart, but I'm also gonna ask her, okay, now my chart says this and this says this. What does this mean? And tell me this so I can look it up here and I can do my own research. So I immediately made the appointment with her. She told me that they had found a hole in my heart. And I was like, well, what the fuck did that come from? And so it basically was like, everybody's born with it. The majority of everybody closes up. Some people don't close up, but it never causes a problem. But yours probably needs to be closed up, because if it's not closed up, then it's going to cause your blood pressure to stay high, which is going to put you at more of a risk for a stroke. And I immediately, started panicking, because 15 years ago tomorrow, my brother passed away from heart disease. And so, but as a child, I've always had chest pains, but they never could explain why. And, I never really questioned it. For the most part of my life, outside of the endometriosis with the migraines and the things that comes along with that, I've been pretty much healthy. So the heart issue never really played a part in my mind. The blood pressure, yeah. And then after my last pregnancy, I did almost pass away from complications with the eclampsia and things that were going on with that pregnancy. And I have studied the heart enough to know that each pregnancy does weaken your heart a little bit, but I had no idea that all this was going on. So she schedules me an appointment with a cardiologist, and she says, I think you'll really like her. I've been seeing my PCP for a while now, and she knows which doctors that she think I'll get along with, that I'll listen to, that will tell me something that's not a bunch of BS. Because you don't have to speak in layman's terms with me, because I'm intelligent enough to know I can speak doctor talk. There's some things I might be like, hold on, let me look it up, and then I look it up, and then, once I get a clear definition, then I'm able to do it. And so she said, I think you need to talk to this doctor. I think you'll really like her. And this was March. My appointment with the cardiologist wasn't until June. And at this point, I was like, okay, so maybe I need to take somebody else with me, because all my doctor's appointments I go to by myself. I'm not the type of person that will worry a friend, a family member, or anybody with what's going on with me. So I decided this time I'm going to take my mom, because she needs to know what's going on. Because yes, I will tell her half truths, because I don't want her to be afraid, and I don't want her to have to feel like she's going through what she went through with my brother. But this time I decided to take my mom to see the heart specialist the first time. And I got assigned a heart monitor. And the weekend I was supposed to take the kids to the water park with my sister for my niece's birthday party. And I was like, oh, okay, so how long I gotta wear? Like 3, 4, 5 days? She was like 30 days. I was like, 30 days? I can't commit to nothing for 30 days, not even that. And my mama was like, well, it's something you got to do. Like, you don't have a choice but, to do it. But you need to stress less. Like, you need to stop being so worried about everything. You need to make sure you're taking your blood pressure medicine. You need to make sure you're doing the things that you're supposed to do that will help. And because this is a long story, I'm going to try to leave it under 15 minutes. Anyway, I wear the heart monitor pretty much the whole damn month of July. I went from like June the 23rd to like July the 20th. And like the 22nd is when I mailed the box back to him. But I never want to wear the leads, because the leads, I have sensitive skin, so the leads tear my skin up. It makes me itch. And the lady who set me up with the heart monitor was like, I'm going to have you sent over some sensitive skin pads. I was like, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Well, guess what? The sensitive ones don't stick if you're sweaty. It's July. I was sweating. So I was alternating in between the sensitive ones and the regular ones. And when I felt moments of lightheadedness or dizziness or, heart racing or things like that, they give you this extra phone that you have to carry around. It beeps when your monitor, your lead's not on, when the battery low, like it beeps, and, so it's worse than the real fucking phone. And so you have to charge it up, but you can't charge it up at the same time you charge your heart monitor. You can't get it wet. You can't do this. Like, it's a lot of, things that you couldn't do. So, I'm attached to this more than I'm attached to my fucking phone, because I'll lose my phone and be like, kids, what phone? And be like, that's your phone. But I can't lose it because it's going to be beeping wherever it's at. And I endured that, and I end up having when I turned the monitor in, I had to take my daughter to visit a school, a college thing that she was going on. But I was able to take the youngest one to the water park, which I had missed earlier, which I didn't want to go. I hadn't realized that over time, my fatigue had increased, my energy had decreased, my social battery was completely drained, and I'm still trying to force myself to work and go through things and be who I normally am, because I'm thinking without it, who am I? What am I if I'm just sitting around? But my body's saying, I've asked you to rest a little bit. So we get to the water park, it's just me and her. And I realized that I needed the water park just as much as she did. I got in the wave pool and I just let the waves move me. I got in the lazy river and I just looked up. And even at one point, I asked her, I said, don't go too far, stay where I can see you. But I watched those kids that were lifeguards that were so amazing that when she got too far, I was like, shit, they're going to save her. I'm not going to stress myself. I'm going to enjoy myself too. And I did. So I realized I needed that time away just as much as she did. And by the time I got back, that's when the doctor called and said, well, we need to schedule another appointment. Stop taking the medicine. I do want you to wear the heart monitor for another 30 days. I was like, oh, fuck. I ended up not wearing it again. But I didn't stress over what would happen. Like, I said, she said the appointment was in September. Boom, I'm gonna wait September and I'm gonna see what happened. And, I continued doing me, doing the things that I was doing. I did notice that I could go grocery shopping and walk around the grocery store, but by the time it was time to bring the groceries from the car upstairs, when I got to the top of the stairs, I needed to rest and I needed to sit down. I'm an asthmatic. I figured it was the asthma. But I still hadn't looked up the signs. I hadn't looked up any diagnosis. She hadn't really given me one. So, I'm still being me. I'm still trying to support people, like I'm doing stuff. I was at the alumni picnic and the heart monitor. I was at Essence Fest in the heart monitor. So I'm trying to live regular life, but haven't grasped the point that what was regular life for me isn't anymore. And I'm very private, very vulnerable person, but I'm always one talking about heart disease, #1 killer of Black women. We ignore the signs. And here I am, suspect, patient, observation, numero uno, #1, not listening to my own fucking advice. So I'm never one to be a hypocrite. So as I go on this journey, I plan to take you along with me, so you can see how one day you up and you are, what did I do this year that was exciting? Shit, I don't even know. At the beginning of the year, we started January off downtown at a little New Year's Eve celebration. Then middle of January, I took the girls and we met Dr. Martin Luther King's daughter and Malcolm X's daughter, and I was able to experience that with the kids. So I felt like I started my year off amazingly with a bang. And here I am 9 months later, about to experience the most scariest, the most frightening, the most vulnerable, the most horrific thing that I never would have, like if you had told me that I would be experiencing this, I would have never believed you. And I don't believe until I'm sitting thinking about the decisions that my kids may have to make for me. A couple of weeks ago, I watched Megan Thee Stallion's documentary on Prime, and I love the way Prime does their documentaries. But I watched Megan say her mom called her and she told her she couldn't talk to call the ER, and she said she sat with her mom and they put her in a medically induced coma, and then she had to, by herself, there was no discussion, there was no siblings, there was no nobody to comfort her, there was nobody to argue with her, there was nobody to do anything, but she had to make the decision to unplug her mom and essentially watch her mom die. And that to me was the most hurtful thing. I'm like, the whole documentary fucked me up anyway, because I'm a big Megan Thee Stallion fan. I stand with her, but watching that and knowing I'm going through this is the scariest thing ever. But I take comfort in knowing my kids won't be alone. They do have a village and they do have each other, although I've read up on it and it's supposed to be, like real easy going, So 7 days out, another doctor's appointment tomorrow, but I will, on part 2, I'll tell you what happened next.